Okay, let's get started. My cats are very talkative today, so you might notice some meowing in the background. That goes without saying. So, the plan here, as we enter game turn 1, the last week of June 1942 in our alternate dimension, is to film at least one game turn in detail, and then maybe give an update every 2 or 3 turns, or whenever it looks like something interesting is about to occur, if I'm even capable of identifying those moments. We'll see. I'm still very much in it for the ride, going with the flow, and have no idea what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. I haven't even looked at the combat and defense factor ranges of these untried Soviet rifle armies, for example. So fasten your seatbelts. Jumping into the weather determination phase, which actually can be skipped until the 3rd week of September, game turn 12. Until then, ground conditions are dry. We start with the German player, and like in many other games, there's a special rule for the first turn, and that is that the German player must pick a fight move sequence, which they probably would have done anyway because they placed their units in response to the Soviet initial starting positions. So they're all set and ready to go, and on top of that, whenever the German player picks a fight move sequence, they get a 1-column shift to the right on all attacks. So that sounds like a pretty powerful opening. We have to make sure to check supply at the start of each movement phase and also before each and every battle. All of our units for both sides start in supply, so we can just skip that for now, or just do it implicitly. Yeah, so I think that's it. Well, let's get started with our first battle, which will be right here. I want to make sure that you can see what's going on. Probably mainly in this section here first. We'll focus here. We're attacking with 7 and 5. They're defending in an intact fortification with a defense factor of 4. So that's, let's see, 3 to 1 up to 4 to 1, and the fortification provides a 2 left shift, so we're back down to 2 to 1. I can't forget about these guys. If we need them, I don't think we'll use it yet, but we have ground support aircraft available to us. Alright, so let's get this roll. We roll a 5, and that's defender retreats. In this game, rolling low is better. So our Soviet rifle army must retreat a hex, and if there are several hexes, several retreat paths available to them, then they must pick the one that takes them closer to their nearest source of supply, which is up here by Kalinin. So we'll pull that back into the forest hex, and because we have German mechanized units that are eligible to advance, and because weather conditions are not mud or snow, they can perform a 2-hex advance after combat, as long as the first hex they enter is the vacated hex. So let's go ahead and do that. And we now have we've destroyed a couple of these Soviet fortifications. So I'll place the control markers there to show that. Now, there are a few things that, reading the rulebook, I've noticed that I think make this game interesting and very different from my experiences with the Arduous Beginning. The first thing is this that you see here. You can destroy and alter the terrain permanently. That is a really cool concept. Another thing was, there were so many, let's see here. There's this thing called concentric attack bonuses, and I'll talk about that when we get there, but that is a really cool concept as well. And if there are multiple terrain effects in a single hex, the effects are cumulative. In games like They Are Just Beginning, you can only choose the single best effect, and I like that, and I think it seems less abstract. I don't know why. There's also no stacking for most units except for the Soviet Cavalry Corps and Engineer Armies. And that means that a unit cannot pass through a friendly occupied hex ever during the movement phase. So that's going to be an interesting change. I'm used to being able to at least pass through friendly occupied hexes as long as we don't end our movement phase stacked. Another really interesting thing is that you don't have to declare all your battles at the beginning of the combat phase. I'm used to a lot of the games that I've covered so far, you have to declare them all in the beginning, and no matter what happens, you have to just go with it. In this case, you can still come up with a plan, more or less, of all the attacks you want to make, but there's more flexibility allowed to, and you can change your mind, you can switch gears, do something else, depending on the outcome of certain battles. And I'm not certain what that's supposed to represent, if it's supposed to be representing better lines of communication between the various battles. And then another thing that I noticed was that when you're determining the column on the combat results table on which you're rolling, you actually do all the calculations, the odds ratio calculations, and then you apply it to the odds, to the CRT. So, and if that happens to be higher than 6-1 or lower than 1-3, then it's an automatic result. Defender eliminated or attacker loses a step. So I'm used to first finding the table on the CRT, the column on the CRT, and then shifting around. So in this game there is no hard border on either side. So there are all these little differences that will make this a cool new experience for me. It'll probably make it so that I'm more likely to mess up, but I think that it'll be an interesting learning experience. Moving on to our next attack over here, also with a total of 12, they're defending also in fortification, this time defending with 3. Okay, so we're starting on 4-1, up to 5, down to 3, to 1, and we roll another 5. Defender retreats result. This unit is north, in the north supply zone, so he'll pull back there, and we will advance. Let's see here. Next down here, this is the one that I was thinking of using my ground support aircraft, because it's just a single unit attacking. So we'll see if it's a 3 or 4 defense factor, then we'll definitely see about that. So we're attacking with 7. They're defending, with 1. So actually 7. So here we're 7-1, up to 8, down 2 to 6-1. And that's what I mean by that whole calculating before applying thing. So yeah, we're gonna save the aircraft for some other attack, maybe up here or down here. And we get on the 6-1, we roll a 1, defender eliminated, our first eliminated unit that goes to the dead pile face down. And we'll go ahead and, let's see, 1, 2. All right. Let's see what else we have. Here we have a total of 10 combat factors. Yeah, let's do that. They're defending with 2. Okay, so 5, 6 down to 4. And 4 to 1, we get a 5 on the 4 to 1 is the defender retreats. Their supply source is over in this direction. Is it on camera? Right there. So they're going to be retreating this direction. And let's see what we'll do. 1, 2. Destroying these fortifications. I think we'll go, this is a total of 6. And we have this guy. I'm going to think about that. Let's see what we have up here. There's a possibility here, but we're only at a 4. And this guy is across a river in an intact fortification, so we'll probably hold off on that. Over here, though, we have possibility of automatically eliminating this cavalry corps, which can be, which is more likely to be replaced on subsequent Soviet turns. But if we eliminate this guy, we could make a 2-hex advance into this hex. And that might be interesting. So let's try that, because this is a fortification that's in the forest. Okay, so we are at a 10 to 1, 11, and then we shift down to 10 for the forest, 9, 8 for the fortification, automatic defender eliminated. We'll move this guy up. And we'll do that. I think that'll be it for up there. Looking back down here, I still have this guy, so I think we should go for this hex. We're attacking with 6. Oh, okay, 4. And we're adding to that anywhere from 1 to 6. And we roll a 3. Okay, so 2 to 1, 3 to 1, down to 1 to 1. And we get, ooh, a 1. Exchange. Ooh, that means each side loses a step. This is a 1-stepper. It gets put in the dead pile, and we have to choose amongst these 2 units. And we'll flip this guy, and we will make our advance. 1, 2, 1. Before we enter German movement, we will place all of these arriving Soviet reinforcements, and they get a ton this first turn. 2 of which are these special guys that I'll talk about in a second. And I'm using the special rule that allows us to place them in any city-controlled, supplied, friendly city hex that's not in an enemy zone of control. Okay, so I've completed the Soviet reinforcement placement phase. We received a couple of cavalry corps that I don't think can appear in city hexes. They're not allowed to end their movement in city hexes, so I placed them instead along with rifle armies in the two nearest supply sources. They are allowed to pass through cities, however. I've also stacked our engineer army along with another rifle army in the still controlled Sukinich, and we've placed our shock army in Mozhaisk and another untried rifle army in Kaluga. We received a couple of these, what are called artillery concentration markers, Stavka markers, which we can use each turn as a Soviet player to double our combat strength in attacks. Once weather conditions turn to mud, we can even use one of these when defending. Alright, entering the German movement phase. A few things to remember, and this is take 2, because I forgot, is the additional movement point cost not only to enter an enemy zone of control, but to exit one as well. For mechanized units it's +2, and for non-mechanized units it's +1 movement point. And also, if you are in supply and not adjacent to an enemy unit during your movement phase, you can do what's called columnar movement, or go into road mode, where your movement allowance is doubled as long as that entire movement doesn't put you next to or adjacent to an enemy unit. And so with that, let's see what we have. We are probably going to have to stick around and deal with these units here that retreated during the combat phase. Hopefully we can pin those units. We have an opportunity to put this untried Soviet rifle army in Kirov out of supply. And then we're probably going to make our way down and around toward Sukinich, maybe bringing a couple of units up and around en route to Mozhaisk. So let's get started. Okay, this Hungarian Axis satellite army has a movement allowance of 4. 2 to enter this forest, 1 for entering the fortification, 1 to enter the enemy zone of control. Sorry, spacing out. Okay, so that's taken care of. Over here we'll move this guy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, pinning that unit. And here we'll do the same. 1, 2 to cross the river, 3, 4 to exit, 5 to cross the river, 6, 7, 8 to re-enter the enemy zone of control. I don't know why I put that there. It's getting late. Over here, let's see. I don't think we have enough to pin this unit with just 2 mechanized units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. But what we can do, let me think about this, because all of these 4 units, these 3 units, those are all eligible for this road mode. So let's see where that can take them. Alright, so I think we're going to take advantage of some of this road mode movement. And we could easily, I think, cut Soviet supply lines to this city. And then some other units can take advantage of this extra speed to push forward here, maybe in the center, maybe towards the south. I'm not certain. We'll just play it by ear. So, we'll actually enter the zone of control here using normal movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have this guy here. And the problem is that you have to go through a destroyed enemy fortification, which means that we can't go through here. We're going to have to funnel through this hex. So these units could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, make it up to here, which might not be bad. Move those units up and around, but then we should make sure that we have enough units to cut these supply lines here. So we need at least a couple more units to do that, which we have over here, so I think we're good. Let's see. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. And this will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and these guys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, forgot this river, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, can make it here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Maybe we'll stop here. Yeah. Alright, so we're entering the Soviet player's turn. Prior to the first Mutter Snow, the Soviet player must always choose a fight move sequence. So that's everything, all turns leading up at least till game turn 14, the first week of October, but really doesn't look like muddy conditions are likely until mid to late October, game turn 16, thereabouts. We also have these two Stavka artillery concentration markers available to us that double our attack factor, and I am still not certain as to the timing of these markers, if we could use them after an untried unit is revealed, or if we have to commit it before and then just cross our fingers. I'm going to assume that you can use it at any point during the combat phase. And so let's just jump right in and use that there to double our attack factor of 4 to innate. We're attacking here, trying to get us out of this position here, sandwiched between these two units. That's on the 1 to 1. We roll a 2, and that is a defender retreats. This unit retreats across the river. Alright, entering the Soviet movement, we will be moving the 2 units in each of these supply source hexes, as well as the units over here. We'll probably keep the shock army in Mozhaisk, even though their defense factor is somewhat unpredictable. So there's not much that can be done with the untried Soviet rifle army and cavalry corps that's in this supply source in the westerly direction. So they're going to probably make their way back towards these fortifications and back toward the center of the map, taking advantage of some of this terrain, and also probably splitting up in an effort to hopefully slow these guys down a little bit more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I want to move this guy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, crossing the supply zone line. This will move 1, 2, 3, 4. And we will move this unit 1, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Finally, we have those units up in the supply source. We'll probably make our way over in this direction toward the fortifications if we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so that ends game turn 1. Like I said, the turns are getting longer. I look forward to continuing this, and we'll update you in a little while.